Boys and girls, it is Wednesday. They call it the old hump day. We're halfway through the old work week. We don't like to speak about that, but we have to because we work towards the weekend because wrestling is right around the corner. That means Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's right around the corner, baby. Sorry, I'm getting all amped up. This is Stir the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Talking Tommy. What's up, my man?
What's going on, Don? Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everybody. Very excited to be here. Can't wait to stir the pot with the one and only Don Kincaid.
Ah, well, thank you for that. Now the reason why we had you on, my friend, is because you, boys and girls, if you don't know who Talking Tommy is, he's based out of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling out of East Haven, Connecticut. We speak about PAPW much on this show, but he's an upcoming commentator, and I wanted to get some of that fresh young blood, and maybe we're gonna ask right off the ripper. Is this your very first interview professionally, my friend?
Pretty much. I have had the opportunity to also work with Professor Rick Del Santo on PWZ, which has been wonderful. Shout out to Rick, Professor. We
Yes.
love you.
We,
Um,
yes, we love Rick Del Santo. Yes, we do.
the one difference, on PWZ, we kind of just been talking PAPW, promoting like upcoming shows.
Mhm.
So this is kind of like my big chance to actually really introduce myself to the wrestling world.
I, I love that. That's what I like. The first promo, the first interview, stuff like that. Maybe you've had your first match, if you will, if you're in ring talent, and I get to, record your first match. I love that stuff. So again, welcome. Basically, we kind of pull the curtain back just a smidge, if you will. We don't get too deep, and we just like to have some fun. This isn't my show. This is for the fans. It does have my name on it, but that means nothing. You might as well just scratch that right out and put for the fans. Stir in the pot for the fans. I might change that. But we just like to have some fun and get to know the talent that we have on. So I'm going to start right off the ripper with PAPW because obviously that's your home base. And I met you as a fan. You come in with your dad and your sister. You guys are a family. You're a wrestling family, if you will. And I love that you guys bond over wrestling. And I think that's what drew me to the Sabins, if you will. So talk to us about your relationship with PAPW.
Um, yeah, PAPW has been, there's a reason why we call PAPW the PAPW family. The management, everyone's great there. Mario Mancini, Pretty Paul Roma, Big Dave Paradise, and Paul Perez. They welcome all fans with open arms. All the wrestlers are so kind to their fans, always willing to take pictures, take the time to sign autographs, do whatever. And we've always had great shows, great turnouts at our shows. You know, um, Something I've always loved with PAPW is a lot of our big shows are always charity. Um, like our last show we had was Type 1 to None, which was for juvenile diabetes on Team CC, which was a huge success. We had 10 matches on the card, believe it or not. It was a huge show. We also saw the final match of the incredible 37-year career of Mario Mancini. It was an unbelievable match. And for me, it was a blessing and an absolute pleasure to call Mario Mancini's final match. And I told him personally, I said, boss, I can't tell you how great of a feeling it was to call your final match for your career because he, in my opinion, I try to be unbiased, but every now and then I'll pull the bias card out. I think Mario Mancini is a man who's did not get enough recognition for what he has done in this business. Um, he's such a great wrestler, and he gave so much great service to this business, and he still does as PAPW owner. And I'm so grateful for the opportunities that they have given me and my family. My sister, it started with my sister as the bell ringer. That was a number of years ago, and they needed someone to ring the bell for one of the shows. And I remember Mario turned to me and he asked, "Kid, you wanna ring the bell?" And I remember I was like, it's like I'm not. And he goes, "Why? Just ring the bell." He goes, and the way I was just, I was just like, I just, like, I feel like I'm gonna mess up or something. I know it's just ding, ding, ding. I was like, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm not gonna hit it hard enough, or I'm gonna hit it in the wrong spot. And it's gonna make like a dead sound. I don't know. I was like, oh. So they turned to my sister. Sure, I'll do it. And so she did it. Had a blast. They made her the official like timekeeper, and
Mhm,
then she got some experience actually in the ring.
mhm.
She started training, and she did wrestle her first match a few years ago. Unfortunately, her commitment with school has really taken over, so she has not returned to the ring in a while. I don't know what that plan is going forward, but they've all been understanding, like, hey, it's school. It's college. We understand. Um, and then my dad kind of got involved with him and Mario have become like best friends, and he's there working the door with Mario now. Um, he's kind of earned the nickname the Enforcer Kevin Saban, um, because he's there working the door with Mario, greeting fans, helping with selling the tickets. Sometimes being at the door as like maybe security, even though we never really have any problems at the shows. Um, and then they turned to me. Mario Mancini did turn to me a second time. After the first time was for timekeeper, and I was kind of like, eh. And then the second time was about doing the music,
Okay.
working and doing like the audio. And I said, "Oh, absolutely not." The bell ring, and I was kind of with ringing the bell. I was kind of shy, saying
Mhm.
no. It was a shy no, like I don't know. The audio was an Amy. Oh, absolutely not. I said, I'm not a computer geek. It's like I know computers, but I don't know computers. So even though
Right.
it's probably just play and pause, at my luck, I'm going to be hitting the wrong music for someone coming out. And then as time went along, he said he asked me, I want to put you on the mic, and I said I'll do it, no hesitation, because since my sophomore year of high school, I knew that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a sportscaster, broadcaster, commentator, whatever you want to, there's all those different terms for it. Um, I knew that this was what I wanted to do, and since as soon as Mario gave me the opportunity, I said no without any hesitation. Oh, I'm in. I'll do it, and I've been having a blast since.
Now, I want to go from the very first show that you did to where we're at currently, where you were able to call Waller v. Mancini. And I want to really dive into that a little bit. So take us from the first time you sit next to none other than a man after my own heart. I love me some Big Daddy. God, do I love that guy. He's so easy to speak with. He's respectful. He lifts you up. He's always positive. He's never a downer and all of that. And the energy, I mean, come on, just the energy alone from that guy. I can't even come near what that dude brings to the table. So take us on the first show that you did, event, if you will, sitting next to Big Daddy, putting on the headset or talking into the mic. Take us through some of that if you could.
Yeah, so this was, and I'll cherish the date forever, August 28th, 2021 was Rumble in Paradise. And it was a bittersweet event because it was also a tribute show for Big Jim Anderson, who I'm sure a lot of fans on your show have know of Big Jim, that we lost him back in August. Although Jim is with us every day in spirits. Um, and so this show was special for a few reasons, because again, it was my first show broadcasting, and it was a show for Big Jim, who was again not just Big Jim, but he was also Big Brother
Mhm.
to everyone. And um, the first match I called, it was a tag team match. It was the Haven versus the Brick City Boys, and I was a little rocky at first, you know, because again, it was my first match, so I was still trying to get the hang of it. Big Daddy was there, and again, he lifts me up. The way we bounce off each other, the connections that he and I make, I was able to really move forward much better than I expected for my first time. Um, the nerves and the butterflies were still kicking in because not only was it my first time on the mic, but this was also broadcasting live on Fight TV. So the you can imagine the excitement of, don't get me wrong, the excitement was there, but there was
Yes.
also the nerves, the butterflies were building
Right.
up, as well as I was really you know, doing my best. I wouldn't say to prove anyone wrong, but you know, I somewhat questioned a little bit to Mario when he wanted me to do this. Um, you know, I said, boss, I'm absolutely, I would love to, but you know,
But
are you sure you want me to do as much as I want to do it? You know, this is our first time, PAPW's first time on Fight TV on pay-per-view. We want this to be perfect. We want this show to be perfection. So it's like, you know, are you really going to go with an inexperienced broadcaster for your first time? Because I don't want to be the one that doesn't have us invited back to Fight TV. You know what I'm saying? But Mario and all the guys at PAPW, they said, no, you got this. We believe in you. And I even during the week, Mondays and Wednesdays are training days at PAPW, and Wednesdays actually training a lot of times is run by Richard Holiday. Um, and he messaged me and said, "Come on down Wednesday night." And because training goes, we run a couple like 5 minute matches for some of these guys. He goes, and I'll sit with you and we'll do some commentary for you to get your feet wet. I said, all right. So I go down and Holiday helped me a lot. And Holiday, I can't thank him enough for his help, as well as Big Daddy's, Mario's, and all the guys that helped me um, in preparing for this show for Rumble in Paradise. But after that first match, Haven and Brick City, I started to feel really comfortable. And then the rest of the night, I felt really, really good, you know, and I am more of the play-by-play. Big Daddy is more of the color commentator. So, you know, I'm the Michael Cole. He's the Pat McAfee or Corey Graves, you know. Um, so
Big Daddy is just Big Daddy.
he's Big Daddy. He's Big Daddy. That's right. No one compares to the Guardian of Chaos.
Not at
Um,
all.
but you know, for that first match, I would say there was a bit of, you know, we kind of both were playing both roles. You know, I know I was going to be play by play, but it seemed like he took over a bit play by play for that first match because he saw that I was still a little, you know, getting the butterflies going and everything.
Right.
It was my first match, but after that first match, I then really again started feeling really comfortable. I said, okay, we got that first match out the way. He gave me a fist bump, and I said, the confidence started to build up, and I felt so comfortable the rest of the night. I took over and did play by play for the last remaining 5 or 6 matches. And at the end of the show, I mean, it felt normal to me and it didn't feel like a first time. You know, to me, I felt so comfortable. I was like, for my first time, it felt like I've been doing this for 10 years, you know? And so I was like, when Big Daddy and a lot of the guys were asking me after the show, "Do you have fun? How do you feel?" And I said, not to sound cheesy, but I was like, maybe I feel like maybe this is really what I'm destined to do. Because since my sophomore year of high school, and now I'm a freshman in college, so my sophomore year of high school, I knew this was what I wanted to do, and I got the opportunity. I felt so comfortable, so confident, and I went through it, and I was like, man, this was a lot of fun. And they said, you did great, kid. You did great. And I had a lot of people that were watching they were streaming it on Fight. They messaged me after the show. You know, I couldn't make it tonight, but I watched it live. And they said, "Oh, you did great. I loved listening to you and Big Daddy. You guys were fantastic." And it made me feel, it built my confidence up a little bit. And so again, I was like, not to sound cheesy, but man, maybe this is my destiny. Maybe this is really what I'm destined to do. And then leading up to the shows afterward.
Oh, okay, hold on. Hold on. Let's just hold a second right there. Now, taking that whole thing in, that's exactly like when I would go on the road with my band and we get up on the stage. That very first song, once I got through that, it was all butter. Everything was cool, man. And we played through the whole evening until like 1 a.m. So we still had a long night ahead of us. So as long as I get that first one in, I'm good. So I totally can connect with you on that. Now, all of these accolades and all of you did great and you sounded great and all of this stuff. Were you thinking like, all right, everybody's just kind of blowing smoke up my ass. How did I really sound? Did you go back to the stream on Fight and listen back to yourself at all? Or did you go back to it? And when you did you think to yourself, you know what? Everybody was right. I think I did a kick-ass job right there.
Yeah, I did go back and watch a lot of the clips from the show, and I was 50-50 with it just because I didn't want to sound too cocky. It's like, this is my first time. It's like, I just got my foot in the door now. I'm not gonna be like some I'm not the next Joe Buck or Jim Ross or something. I'm not gonna, I'm not that guy that just goes and goes, oh yeah, and yeah, I broadcasted a show on Fight TV. It's like, yeah, it's like, well, this was only one show versus guys that've been doing this for, again, Big Daddy's been doing it for, I don't know how many years. But I did look back and I was like, man, it sounded pretty good. I thought I did good, and I always look for improvements,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
a part of it could also be, I know I'm not the only person out there that probably they listen back to like a recording of them and they're like, man, is that really what my voice sounds like? Sometimes they're like, man, why hasn't anyone told me to shut up yet? And it was like, I was 50-50 with it. I was like, man, I think I did do pretty good, because again, I want to have that confidence. I need to build that confidence that I could do this and that I'm welcome back again. So, I had mixed emotions with it, but when I was listening to it, I was like, man, that's me on pay-per-view. So like, again, the emotions were kicking in. Like, man, I was on freaking pay-per-view.
That is insane, like, right?
Yeah.
But that's, fandom brings people in a different direction within the industry. And perfect example, you're a fan, you're hanging with your dad, he knows some of the talent over at the PAPW. Yourself and your sister, you're hanging with him at the shows. She dips her toe in the water a little bit. School needs to be a little more focused. You never know what's going to happen in the future with her. And again, one of those things where I was able to videotape her very first match. So these are one of the, another one of those examples. But then it kind of goes over to Talkin Tommy. Now he's getting his feet wet a little bit, but now he's jumping in the pool. He's like, I'm down with this stuff, man. This is pretty damn cool. So I've already known what I'm going to call this episode specifically. I like to call them each a different name so they have their own flavor. This was my destiny, because there is not one person that's ever told me that, from talent to talent, manager to referee and stuff like that. I think you're the very first one that's ever said that on this show. And I'm going to utilize that for the title of this. Now, first show, big, the nerves, you get it out of your system, you look back, you can almost take a breather, if you will, and be like, okay, man, I'm almost glad that is done. But the time that you're there at the show, and it happens to me many a time, does it seem like a blur when you actually, like when you're taking some of the memories from your very first show, Is some of it a blur? Like, man, that's like a 3 hour show, 4 hour show or whatever, but it seems like it was only about a half hour, maybe an hour. Some of the live gigs that I've done, they just seem to fly right by for me.
Yeah, I think it depends mostly on like what we have for like on the card. Like for so my first show, Rumble in Paradise, we only have, like I think there was like maybe 5 matches on the card, but that's expected, because when you have the Rumble, that match easily takes up a half hour at
Right.
least. So I think because there were just 5 matches, that was one of those where we just went through it quick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in other shows, like our most recent show, Type One to None, Round Three, we had like 10 matches on the card, and that one was one that's like, man, we're like, wow, it's like, man, we're 5 matches in. Oh, we still got 5 more to go. It's like, and all 5 were like great matches. Like, one of the 5 would be, a championship match. Of course, we had Waller and Mancini for the main event. I was like, man, we got a kick-ass card tonight. Like all 10 matches were great with such great talent from everyone. So I think it depends on like how many
Mm-hmm.
matches you have on the card.
Okay.
Um, but again, sometimes it could be also the energy from the fans,
Right.
and every match the fans in PAPW are always really involved, and it's really fun just to be sitting there. And again, the old saying, time flies when you're having fun. So I'm always having a lot of fun. And I mean, how can you not have fun when your tag team partner, your partner in crime, is the 2-time Hall of Famer GOC, Big Daddy? So it's a great feeling. It's fun. It's exciting. So sometimes a lot of that stuff, it really like, man, the show's already over. Wow, it's like I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm. So you're feeling that energy from the crowd. Now, are you maybe soaking some of that energy in, because obviously they're doing that for the talent and it's not, specifically directed to the commentary table, if you will. But are you feeling that energy? You're hearing the crowd. Are you taking some of that with you as you're doing your job?
Oh, absolutely. Regardless of my position of where I am, yes, I'm sitting at the commentary table, but I'm still a fan.
Mhm.
It's like I like to look at myself. I don't compare. I'm not going to compare myself to anyone. I don't want to be that guy. I'm talking Tommy. That's who I am. But I really enjoy watching, like, if I flip on WWE, I flip on SmackDown, and I watch someone like Pat McAfee, who you hear in his voice, his reactions and how he calls the action. Yes, he calls the action with Michael Cole, but you also see and hear the excitement he has. And it just
Mhm.
goes to show he's also a fan. He's not just here to broadcast and call the action. He is here to also have fun because he is a fan. And that's the way I look at it. And I hear the crowd. I hear their chants. I hear them getting up on their feet, cheering, booing for the bad guys, and cheering their heroes. And again, the chants. I mean, it was beautiful at last show after Flash and Mancini finished up their match after Flash won. Mario did the tradition, the pro wrestling tradition, where he took his boots off and he put them right there in the center of the ring. And I remember just the emotion. I remember I was looking around behind me and just seeing every fan on their feet, applauding, starting to thank you, Mario chants. Then the whole locker room came out and surrounded the ring. Everyone kind of got in the ring to give Mario a hug, and it was, again, the sea of emotion.
Mhm.
Um, that helps. And again, as a broadcaster or commentator, sometimes the fans help, because when they're getting loud, it could also be for a big spot in the match. And that's probably my signal to like, all right, I gotta raise my voice now. I gotta raise my voice, bring the excitement. Because again, I'm not gonna be shouting at the top of my lungs all night long. I'm gonna be, quiet. It's like, okay, and now, he Irish whip into the corner and he goes, oh, and there's a big boot to the jaw or something. But then it's like, you know, off the top rope, frog splash. Again, there's the moments where you have to really pick it up, then you bring it down, and the energy from the fans and hearing them get loud, that helps me to know, okay, so this is a big spot where I can also, because they're really loud, I got to make sure the people on Fight TV can hear me, and that, so, and Big Daddy gets excited too. I got to make sure they hear me too, so, and actually though, because when we were doing Rumble in Paradise, the guys that helped us out was guys at GoPro, and they were fantastic. Shout out to GoPro. They were awesome. They were super helpful. um, they actually told us when they were doing mic checks before the show started that my microphone, because my voice is more baritone, my microphone is more, the volume is lowered than Big Daddy, just because the the feedback that
Mhm.
it gets. So like the lower the voice, the more feedback. So they said most of the time, the lower the voice, your volume will be lower, but they'll still hear you just as fine. Okay, but I
Mhm.
still want to make sure for those big spots that when Big Daddy gets excited, I got to make sure I could compete with the Hall of Fame. You know?
Uh, and that is not an easy task by any
Oh,
stretch of the imagination. But within the fans and then Big Daddy, there is so much energy. How can you not
right.
grab onto some of that and utilize it? You spoke of you were about to go from the Rumble in Paradise and move on, and then I kind of paused, did the old pa Jose, and we've been kind of chit chatting in between. Take us from Rumble into Paradise now. Where do you go from here on your next venture for broadcasting?
Well, I'm so grateful for PAPW because I would have never expected the opportunity to broadcast pro wrestling. I've always been a pro wrestling fan my whole life, um, and this was something great for me to get my feet wet with the experience. Um, but since my sophomore year of high school, like I said, I knew this was what I wanted to do. But it was always mostly baseball. Baseball is what I'm very passionate about. That's always been my number one sport. Although pro wrestling fans don't hate me. I love pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is still has that special place in my heart, and it definitely will because I got my first experiences as a broadcaster with pro wrestling. So, that's something that they'll always have baseball beat in that category. Um, but I got involved with this because again, Mario knew that this is what I wanted to do, and so he asked me just to get the experience. I said, "Oh, absolutely." Um, so I'm a freshman at, I see by the shirt, at Albertus Magnus here in New Haven, and when I was coming for like all the orientations and the students, the student days, whatever you want to call them, where students come and meet other new students and get to know the campus and campus life. A lot of representatives from different departments or go up to you and ask, hey, so have you thought of a major? Because I mean, you're a freshman, you might not want to know. And I said, oh, I already know. I said, I've known since my sophomore year of high school. And I've had a lot of teachers over the years from high school, even now, that say, well, that could change. It's not going to change. I said, since my sophomore year of high school, I've known that this is what I want to do. I said, and I am staying packed on that. And
Nice.
um, they said, so what is this? So I plan on studying. I want to study sports communications. I said, I want to go into being a sportscaster, broadcaster. They said, oh my God. And they're like, we're looking for students to broadcast our home games for our athletics. And I was
Yeah.
like, really? Um, and it was one of those things where they said, do you have anything in mind? I says, well, I'm a baseball guy. I says, okay. He goes, so we definitely would love to have you broadcast baseball. Um, and at first, I didn't say no, but I play baseball. and I love playing the game, and I had the opportunity to play for Albertus, and so I was practicing and training and working out with the team, and it's probably been the most enjoyable part of my college experience because I've really gotten to know all the guys so well. They've all been very supportive of everyone, um, and I was having a lot of fun with it. And then every single week, I would get an email from the athletic department with the broadcast. It goes, "Have you changed your mind? Have you changed your mind about? Are you sure you still want to play?" And I started thinking about it more and more. And they told me that, this will go as a work study program for you. You'll get paid for this, and
Ooh.
college athletes don't get paid, So I was like, so if I play baseball, yes, well, I have fun playing baseball, but again, I'm not going to get paid for that since I do broadcasting. I don't know, I get paid for this. And also, again, it helps me with my career goal.
Right.
So I started thinking about it a lot. And towards the end of when we wrapped up the fall season, um, I had a sit down conversation with the head coach and with the whole coaching staff actually. And I told them where I was at, what I was thinking, and they said, "Oh my God, dude, that'd be awesome." They said, "You have to do what you want to do." And they said, "Listen, you're a talented ball player. We love having you." I said, "But and listen," they said, if you broadcast for us, because you're still going to be a part of this." And so I kind of asked the head coach. I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Go for it." He goes, I'm going to miss you on the dime, but go for it because you're still going to be here, a part of it. We're still going to consider you a part of the team. You're just in a non-player role.
Right.
And so I said, you know what? All right. So I made that decision that I'm going to, for now, step away as a player. I'll step away from playing and take up on this. So by the springtime, I'm going to be the head broadcaster for baseball and softball, actually. And it really got me starstruck a bit because they told me when I was meeting with the marketing department and the whole athletic crew that runs this stuff, they said that they have like nobody at the school that's interested in this stuff. They said you're like one of the only people that really knows specifically that this is what you want to do. They said, and they says we're not bullshitting you. The president of Alberta actually this year bought equipment like headsets, microphones, cameras, the whole 9 yards. They were so serious about this. They streamed the games. But like there's no broadcasting. So it's like if you were watching one of Albertus's sports games, yes, you'd be watching it, but there's no commentary. It's just
Right.
you're just watching the game. Um, and so they say like you could be someone that encourages people to want to get involved in
Yeah.
this. And the coach, the head coach of the baseball team, I am not making this up, word for word, said, "Kid, you could be the fucking godfather of a whole new era at Albertus." And
Yeah.
so that like starstruck me. I was like, "Oh my God." So it's like, who knows? Maybe the broadcast booth at the baseball field, maybe, I don't know, maybe 50 years from now, a long time from now, it'll be renamed after me or something. I said, we'll see. We'll see. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm doing this. So pretty soon, probably, with the first semester winding down, probably at the start of next semesters, I'll start getting more in touch with the athletic department again, start getting prepared for the season, for the baseball and softball season, and get ready to call some baseball and softball, which I'm really excited about.
That sounds like one hell of a venture for you, my man. This is right up your alley. The Godfather is about to start announcing. uh, you were talking how you were a player. What was your position?
I was actually a utility player. I was a jack of all trades, except for
Okay.
catcher. Catcher was the one position you see in baseball. Anyone can play any position ever. Doesn't matter your size, doesn't matter how fast you are, but there are only two positions where it's either in you or it's not, and that's pitcher and catcher. It's like it's either in you or it's not. And I could pitch as well, but catching was definitely one not for me. I was like, ah, no, I'm not a catcher. I mean, I could crouch down there and catch a baseball, no problem. But it's a matter of also working on blocking and then proper,
Right.
pop time to throw a runner out at second. I just
Mhm.
I was like, nah, catcher's not in me. So I was like, but I'll play anywhere else. You name the position, I can play it. And I've had fun playing like at every single position, you know.
Being a utility guy, any position that you found doing them all, any position that really kind of sticks out a little bit at you, that's more your favorite, your cup of tea?
Um, I would say I always loved pitching. Um, because personally, I always felt I was built like, and in terms of like my size and my body, I always felt like I was built as a pitcher because I'm 6'2", like between 150 and 160, and so I was like, tall and slim. That's a typical pitcher. So it's like I've always felt like I was built as a pitcher, but I was always a pretty good hitter as well. So it was kind of hard to not be in the lineup. A lot of my coaches just were kind of like, I gotta have your bat in the lineup. So you know, so I would also I always loved playing outfield. Um, and actually, during the fall season over at here at Albertus, I actually got a real good taste at first base. Actually, haven't played first in a few years. Um, but once I got back into it, I was like, man, this is so much fun. Because again, when you're playing first base, you're always involved. You're always moving because you're always getting the ball thrown to you.
It-
So
that's a
I
that's definitely a nonstop position right there.
yeah yeah. So I had a lot of fun there. I always had fun at every position. I always find a way to enjoy it. Because
Mhm.
again, there's to me, baseball. It's again, I can't explain the love I have for baseball. I mean, I'm like a walking ESPN with sports history, and I owe it all to someone I hold dear to my heart that really encouraged me to get involved with this. So
Now, two different worlds, obviously. I'm going to switch back to the PAPW
mhm,
portion of your life because we've spoken of Big Daddy, the excitement, the energy, the charisma, the professionalism, the knowledge, everything that he brings to the table. Being called up to have this position, you saying yes. Mario is the one who asked you. Yeah, pretty Paul Roma over there. Most would know him from the Power Glory days with Hercules Hernandez, and I would imagine. But sitting next to Big Daddy, my friend, has just got to be
yeah,
a whole world in its own. And I not that I'm making light of his excitement and all of that and his energy. But my goodness, that guy, he's always on. He's never off, that guy. Character, pizzazz, charisma, the voice. Oh my goodness, his
yeah.
voice. Sitting next to Big Daddy, getting this opportunity, I think I'm going to assume that must have made you feel way more comfortable
Yeah.
than maybe sitting next to a guy who was maybe a dud, if you will, and they wanted you to come in and maybe help the team out or something. But having a guy like Big Daddy, you must have been walking in there just a tad more comfortable.
Yeah. I was so also because he's been great to my family over the years as well. Once we really started being regulars at the PAPW shows, he always greeted us, and he was so kind and generous. Always took the time to chat with us. And when he heard the news that I was going to be joining him, he immediately reached out to me and he said, "Man, we're gonna have so much fun. We're gonna have a blast." And I said, "I know." I says, "I'm nervous." He said, "Kid, you're gonna do great." He goes, we're gonna have a blast. I'm gonna be right by your side. You just do not worry about a damn thing. We're gonna have fun." And yeah, like I said, his energy again, like I said, his voice, it's so infectious. You just can't help but just admire having him in your presence. Because he also, the fact that, again, he's a two-time Hall of Famer, New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, and PAPW Hall of Famer. The man has so much experience. He has done so much for this business, and he's like a role model, I think, to a lot of people, myself included, because I see how much fun he has calling the action, and it's being by his side, taking in that energy, bouncing off each other. He and I try not to be too cocky with it, not to toot my own horn, but man, like, we make a great tag team, he and I.
And that's what it's all about, getting that chemistry and being able to feed off of one another. And like you were saying, the McAfee Cole not similarities, but as examples, because I mean, McAfee, some of the stuff he does is very over the top and overacting, but then some of the stuff he does is very organic, and you could see the differences. With Big Daddy, he's been in the business for so long. I mean, for crying out loud, his catchphrase book must be thicker than the Webster Dictionary. I mean, his catchphrases are just miles and miles long. And he's so funny. And he's quick and witty and, stuff like that. So little by little, these things will come with you, just like anything else, with repetition and all of that good stuff. And you'll find your niche and you'll find your catchphrases and stuff. And that's what I'm waiting for. There's going to be a point, and it's going to be sooner than later, and you're going to just feel so comfortable. Catchphrases are going to start flying out of your mouth. You're going to maybe start talking references of movies or pop culture of any kind, and you're just going to start pulling stuff all in, and there's going to be a point, and we're all going to see it, and that is when Talkin Tommy is really born, right there, baby. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I really am. And like you say, with someone like Big Daddy, and where he has really helped me in a way that it's somewhat it's unnoticed, but I was like, it's, as you think about it, man, he really does help me in this way. And then, like you said, he's quick, and that helps me when it comes to keeping the conversation going and making it flow nice and smoothly. There are times in a match where things could slow down, where you could be slow, be calm about it. And then as I'm talking and calling the action, be, okay, and now, there's, this, so-and-so working on so-and-so in the corner, I got to make a tag or something. But then as it starts to pick up, the speed picks up, the match is then all fast paced. And as I see, he starts picking up. So now I gotta speed it up too, and that it's helped me, knowing of when to really talk fast, when to take it down a notch, pull it back a bit. And it's really been super helpful. Really has.
Speaking of the tempo of matches, trying to keep up and call a match of the likes of Dustin Flash Waller, Kylon King, The Haven. We could go on, but I mean, holy cow! You really gotta be on your toes.
I mean, Rumble in Paradise, again, my first show. Kylon King issued an open challenge for the Intercontinental title, and Dustin Flash Waller answered it. There's like, hey, how about a brotherly battle? And I was like, I knew, oh man, the high flying, the high spots. This match is going to be back and forth, and it was a fast paced match. And I remember I was like, oh, it was a lot of fun calling it. It really was. But again, it was all back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was so much fun. It really was. And Flash and Kylon King, I know, are going to be teaming up at our next show. It's like, that's going to be a lot of fun watching that. And it's not just those guys. There's a lot of other guys in PAPW that are that go fast pace. And it's a whole lot of fun going back and forth, calling the action. But again, it's crazy because I'm back and forth grabbing my water bottle for a drink. I'm trying to catch my breath of all the action that's going on. It's, I always say to Big Daddy, no pun intended, but there's a lot of chaos going on in this ring right now.
That's something you could definitely utilize. That's fantastic. But I use those four guys as an example because PAPW down in East Haven does breed and mold their own students, if you will. And those four guys have gone right through their system from the ground up and at a very young age, as yourself is doing right now. So I use those guys as an example when I speak of PAPW, just because of their, they're in the system, if you will, at PAPW. Now, I want to talk about this match for Mario Mancini, very historic. On the other side, Mr. Walla being his opponent, also part of it being historic. It's like that. It's like that Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels kind of thing, where Shawn Michaels got to kick my man right in the face and say I'm sorry and I love you and all of that stuff. This for you at such a young point in the tenure of your career just must have been mind altering building up to that date, because it's like, I'm going to be calling this and I don't know where this is going to end up, but I could possibly be calling Mario Mancini's last match ever in his career. And you already spoke about the honor and the privilege of being able to call that. But can you take us through that match a little bit? Because we're about 45 minutes or so, and we haven't talked about that match. And that was one of the things I really wanted to touch upon before we, went in any other direction.
Yeah. That match, I mean, the excitement that I had building up to that match, I was, I looked at it. This is student versus teacher. Mario is the one that taught Dustin how to wrestle. And it's like, this is student versus teacher, title versus career. It's Waller versus Mancini. It does not get any better than this. And it's, old school versus new school. It's the rising star versus the veteran. I mean, it was incredible because again, these two guys, their persona in the ring. Again, Mario is that old school. Flash. He's part of this new generation, or the miracle generation, if you will, as they call it in PAPW. So I was like, this is two different generations going at it. I said, this is going to be incredible. Two different styles. They both have their own style and performing in the ring. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying to Big Daddy, this is going to be a match for the ages, and it's amazing because every show, there's always like one match to me that stands out. Mm-hmm. I remember at Rumble in Paradise, not the main event, because the main event was the Rumble, but the championship match. It was Matthias versus Richard Holiday. And I looked at that match and I remember saying to Big Daddy, when you want to talk about PAPW and the greatest PAPW wrestlers of all time, these two men enter the chat. Mm-hmm. Matthias DiNapoli and Richard Holiday.
And Richard Holiday being the longest reigning champion at PAPW.
Right. And
at that time.
Yeah. And I mean, I was like, these two are about to go at it. I was like, this is going to be one of the biggest matches in PAPW history. And then, we had the next show and we saw triple threat for the championship. Matthias defending not only against Richard Holiday, but Showtime Marcel Williams. Showtime, another guy that is in that elite tier of greatest PAPW stars of all time. And then it just moved along, at the show after that, we saw Matthias defend against Kylon King. I mean, that was an unbelievable match to watch. And then again, this past show, we saw Flash and Mancini. Again, these main events, these matches, they just keep getting bigger. And I mean, next show this Saturday, the 11th, we have our last show of the year, Under Pressure, back at the JCC. Matthias is defending the title against Showtime Marcel Williams again. Showtime is finally going to get his one-on-one match that he rightfully deserved after winning the Rumble. And it's going to be such a great way to close out the year for PAPW. Again, two all-time greats in PAPW, and just the excitement I have calling these guys matches again. Also because of the support they have given me.
Right.
And taking the time to talk because I before the shows I always go up to each guy in the locker room and I say, hey, for your match tonight, is there anything you want me to say? Because again, it's like a lot of people, what they don't understand, and I don't mean this in a bad way. As a commentator, as a broadcaster, we're not just calling the action. We're also helping the wrestlers tell their story.
Mm-hmm.
That's something a lot of wrestling fans don't realize. And again, I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
It's so we have our job is to not only call the action but to tell the story of the rivalry that's going on between this, so like Waller and Mancini. What was the rivalry? How did it get to this point?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big part of our jobs. And so I go up to all these guys before the show. Sometimes I'll even like reach out to them, message them days in advance, like, hey, for your match this week, is there anything about you want me to touch up on? Like I remember when I was doing the Rumble, I went up to all the guys in that were in the match. I said, hey, when you come out for the Rumble tonight, anything you want me to say? Because how like a lot of the guys, and here comes the Cure Lucas Chase to the ring. Big Daddy, I spoke to Lucas Chase earlier today, and he told me he's winning the Rumble. Something like that. Says, is there anything about you that you want me to touch up on and add in to put you over? And all the guys, I mean, they've all been, yeah. Now here, sit down. We'll chat real quick. Got like 5 minutes. So like it's a brief thing that they go over with me, and really it really helps me a lot to know that I have the support of everyone, and that everyone always asks about, hey, did you have fun? Was it good? And some of the guys even asked me about, hey, how did I do in the ring tonight? I was like, listen, I'm not the trained professional wrestler. I can't really answer that question of how did you do. I can't. I'm not your trainer. I'm not Mancini. I'm not Roma. I can't tell you. Well, in this spot, I think you did this wrong. That's not my place. That's not my position. Who am I to talk down to? And a lot of guys always break my balls and give me a hard time. Like, come on, I want to know what you think. It's like, no. It's like that's not my place.
I'm asked that as well, and I don't know if they want me to critique them or break it down or whatever, but I don't know what it is. But my go-to is like I had fun because I did. I took it in as a fan. I didn't. I didn't like manipulate what was going on in me. Like, oh, they screwed up there, or oh, he should have did that, or she should have. I don't do that as I'm watching. I watch as a fan and I have a blast. So it's truly any of you boys or girls, please. I am not a fibber. Anytime you ask me, what'd you think of my match? My go-to is I had fun. It was fun because I had fun. It's not a lie,
Yeah.
So
I will
again,
I will say though, I did. I didn't critique anything, but I did give, and I don't know if he's watching, the Cure Lucas Chase at last Alley Fights. He was asking. He goes, so he goes, did me, the Cure? I was just on, dark elevation. I said, yeah. I said, but something, man, you are causing so much beef here in PAPW now. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, you still got beef with Buzz Bloodsaw you're settling. Next show, you're challenging Ichiban for the United States Championship. So now you're getting some beef with the champ. Also, earlier at Alley Fights, you turned on your dear friend Zachariah. Now you're building some beef with this guy. And he had and also I was like, you wrestled Showtime Marcel Williams for the first time ever in the main event of Alley Fights, which was an incredible match. Unfortunately, the match went to a time limit, but I know that was my reaction too. And the fans started chanting 5 more minutes, and ref Bill Thompson, senior official, he's like, no, it's over, it's over. But the two started brawling again, and the whole locker room came out and had to separate the guys, and it was a back and forth brawl. And I'm like, Lucas, I get it, you're the Cure, you're a talented wrestler and all, but you've got beef with Bloodsaw, you've got beef with Ichiban, you've got beef with Zachariah, now you've got beef with Williams. You've got 4 different targets on your back, big guy. What are you doing? And so I was like, what are you doing causing all this? It's like one guy at a time. One guy at a time. I think that was the only time I ever, like, when if someone asked me about, like, hey, what'd you think? That was like the only time I said, like, what are you doing? Starting all this beef with all these other guys. Finish off one guy first. You're the Cure, Lucas Chase. Everyone knows you. I said, you're the Cure. You're a big deal, man. You're traveling all over the country. You know, I mean, I was like, dude, one thing at a time, one guy at a time. You got this. Relax. Take it slow. Take your time. You're in no hurry.
And not only that, speaking of the Cure, I mean, he's the first ever, the inaugural. Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something going on. He's the first ever Rhodes Wrestling Academy champion, and he wears that strap very proudly. He's already defended it. So he's got plenty on his plate. Never mind building all of this quadruple plates filled with the talent at PAPW. My man is gonna he's stretching himself too thin. He's gonna break. He is gonna break, man. Somebody's gonna get him good because he's spreading himself just quite too thin, as I feel right now. I'm so glad you brought him up because he is a regular talent over there at PAPW. As the past year, probably year and a half or so.
Yeah, since he's arrived in PAPW, he's really made a name for himself. He never fails to impress me though with his in-ring ability, the way he connects with the fans. Obviously, he doesn't like the fans, you know. No. But
we like to cheer Chase, you suck. Chase, you suck. That's what we like.
Right. As the Fog Man would say, you know, Chase, you suck. You really, really suck. And he starts the whole music number for the crowd. But no, he is someone that has always impressed me. I've always enjoyed calling his matches. And I'm just, you know, Lucas, hey, if you're watching, you've got some work to do, brother. You know, you've got a lot of targets on your back. I don't know how many targets, you know, in some of the other promotions that you go and wrestle for. I don't know who is got their eyes on you, but you've got 4 guys here in PAPW that can't wait to get their hands on you, brother. So I would suggest, you know, instead of having an extra set of eyes on the back of your head, you need 3 extra sets of eyes. So you know,
especially taking Gibbs out of the picture. I mean, why would he even do that? He just built that kid up, and he was like his right-hand man, and he was kind of taking care of some business for the Cure at times here and there, and keeping an eye on his back. And now he's got nobody again. I mean, that guy, he doesn't know.
You know something though. I've since coming to PAPW, I've watched what he has been doing, and he's a guy that it doesn't matter who's by his side. He can ride it solo, and he could succeed just as good. You know, I do think though. Listen, you know, you do not want to anger an Amish man. So I don't know what Zachariah has coming for Lucas Chase, but I look forward to seeing Zachariah maybe interacting with the fans more, maybe bringing back the butter churn. You know, I can't tell you how many disappointing looks on the faces of the PAPW fans when Zachariah aligned himself with the Cure. I remember the fans just stood there, didn't even say a word. They didn't say a word. They just crossed the arms. They just puckered up, and they were. Zachariah, I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah,
We'll see.
that was interesting on the turn, and now the turn is turned, and we'll see. Like you just said, we'll see where all of that goes.
Yeah.
Now, before we do finish this off, there's one question I wanted to make sure that I did ask you. We got to talk about the name Talkin' Tommy. I almost want to say it came from Big Daddy, but that might be a wrong answer. So please talk to us about the name Talkin' Tommy, because you want to have a little something, a little pizzazz, if you will, when you're in the world of wrestling, and it kind of fits you. So take us on a journey of the name, if you could.
So when we were getting ready for Rumble in Paradise, we knew that we wanted to have me have some type of nickname. And at first, Mario, my father, and a lot of other guys saw me as like, since you're the the youngest guy, you're the young guy, maybe you're like the prodigy. Like that's pretty good. Like the prodigy Thomas Saban. That's good. I like this. Like, all right. And that's kind of what happened first. That was like the first name that really we went along with. But then on I went on PWZ with Professor Rick and Big Daddy to promote Rumble in Paradise. Big Daddy was saying to me, he goes, the prodigy, he goes, that's been used before. He goes, I feel like that's used for a lot of guys that are, again, when they're up and coming. And he said, Sonny, we can call it for now. He goes, but we'll figure something else out. And so I was like, all right. I says, well, we'll try and think. And we were kind of like, you know what? Let's not even think about it, because it'll come when it comes. And so the first time I opened my mouth on PWZ, when I was talking about PAPW, talking about Rumble in Paradise, I remember I just went on and I gave like a quick rundown of the show, and it was almost like I gave like a summary in like 5 minutes, and I didn't realize, oh, like shit, I just went on for 5 minutes. I kind of wanted to just give like a 30-second to 2 minutes at the most, but I was like, man, I just went on for almost 5 minutes. And then Professor Rick and Big Dan was like, well, geez, I mean, you just did our job for us. We might as well just call it a night right here. And I said, hey, you're quite the talker here. And they're like, you're like Talkin' Tommy over here. And we're like, that's it. They're like, that's your freaking name. You're Talkin' Tommy. And since then, Talkin' Tommy Saban was born. And if you can't tell, I mean, I've been yapping. My gums have been flapping all night long here. I mean, so you could probably tell why they call me Talkin' Tommy. So,
but that's what we do on Stir in the Pot. We chit chat, and I mean, at the shows, we all know I can go, and you want to be interviewed, I can go too, man. So that's what it's all about. You're doing a fantastic job. You look like you're having a tons of fun. You sound like you're having tons of fun. You're balancing school. You're balancing broadcasting. Going to be taking on another role over there, doing the sports thing. You're doing the wrestling at the PAPW. You have a lot that you're juggling in your life, but all of it seems perfect for what you want to accomplish in the long term, your end game, if you will. Talkin' Tommy, I know, my man, with the way it's starting, the future is bright for you in your broadcasting career, no matter if it's on the dub on a big old different stage in wrestling or somewhere else, or if it's on ESPN. You never know. Boys and girls, keep your eyes open. He may not be talking Tommy when he's on the ESPN, but keep your eyes open for that beautiful face.
We'll see. I'll let the Stir in the Pot fans in on a little secret. The dream, the lifelong dream for me. Again, baseball holds that special place in my heart. I know I give a lot of credit to Joe Buck. He is one of the best to ever do it, but I know he can't go on forever. And when his time is done, I want Fox Sports to give me the call, and I want to call the World Series. That's the dream. That is if I said that is the lifelong dream, and so I'm gonna keep working hard for it. I'm gonna climb that ladder. I'm gonna stir as many pots as I gotta, and there's no, as the saying goes, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. And so I'm gonna keep climbing. I'm gonna keep working hard. I'm gonna be grateful for. I'm gonna continue to be grateful and thankful for all of the opportunities I'm getting. Like I said, in PAPW, because I have a lot of fun, with the wrestling. Because again, when I'm broadcasting baseball, I'm myself. I'm Thomas Saban.
Mhm.
But when I'm in PAPW, when I'm on the commentary tail for wrestling, I'm talking Tommy. Right? So again, yes, in baseball, I'll have fun broadcasting baseball. Because it's like, again, it's like my favorite sport. Um, but again, it's like I'm myself. Not that I'm not myself in PAPW, but again, I get to be in like a character. I get to be also kind of be like an actor, and
Absolutely.
I get to really have fun and just go about and I mean, just go nuts. Again, say things that I wouldn't say during a baseball game. So, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll add. I don't know. Maybe I'll add a WrestleMania on the bucket list of like, hey, I'll call the World Series. Maybe I'll call it WrestleMania. How about that? That'd be something. I don't as much as I'm again, baseball's the dream to broadcast that. Now that I've gotten the experience with pro wrestling, I can't explain how much I've enjoyed it, and I want that to continue. So I mean, who knows? Maybe 10 plus years from now, when I'm long done with college and I have a career, maybe summer times, during the regular season for baseball, I'm there at the Diamond calling baseball, and then in the off season, maybe I'm at the ring, at ringside calling some pro wrestling action. Maybe do something like that. We'll see. Only time will tell. But
Absolutely.
stay tuned. Because Talking Tommy is here to stay. So
Well, I will absolutely be keeping my eyes peeled, my ears open, if you will. And I hope, I hope I'm still around. I am 51. I'm getting up there. I'm climbing the ladder in the old age factor, but I hope I'm still around and being able to see Talking Tommy be able to call a World Series and call a WrestleMania. I would be so
who
ecstatic,
knows?
man. I would be so stoked for you.
I mean, again, it's miles away. It's going to be a long journey. Because listen, there are a lot of great guys out there that
Yep.
do a great job at broadcasting
But you
their
never know.
respected sports. But there's also me. Why not me?
Yep.
Why not take a chance? Take Mario Mancini and the rest of PAPW took a chance on this a young 18-year-old freshman in college who, for some reason, dreams about being a sportscaster. Out of all the positions, out of all the occupations in the world, a sportscaster, not as common as you would expect, but it's like, I want to do this. I'll give you a chance. And they, my dreams came true on August 28th, when I first called it for Rumble in Paradise, and the dream continues to come true at every show following. So, and I can't wait for more. And so to everyone watching, this Saturday, December 11th, Under Pressure, PAPW, our final show of the year. Going to be one hell of a show. Big Daddy, if you're watching, I forgive me, I'm stealing your line, but don't you dare miss it.
Yes. Oh,
I rarely take his lines. I always give him the credit for when his line, like when we're calling the action, like there's some things that like he says that I make sure he says, like when someone like hits a knee to the jaw or to the chin, Big Daddy's saying was knee to the jib. I always give him, I'm like, say it, Big Daddy, because I'm not gonna say it. That's your line. When a match is over, 1, 2, 3, the saying is always put it in the books. I always say, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Here's 1, there's 2. That's it. No, I turn to him and I let him say, that's your line. Put it in the books. So So Big Daddy, forgive me for stealing your line. It won't happen again, sir.
No, you're not stealing anything, but I think I might have a new name for this episode. Don't you dare miss it. Oh, Big Daddy's gonna get a kick out of that. That is that's a perfect way to end. Talking Tommy, you've been absolutely a gem tonight. You're very young in your career. You only have a few shows under your belt. I feel with your passion, the way you think about it, the drive you have and the effort you want to put into it. Sky's the limit for my man Talking Tommy. And I can't thank you enough for hanging out and talking to us, the fans, to get to know you a little bit better.
Well, thank you, Don, for having me. I had a blast. I hope again, I'd love to come back if you ever want me to talk your ear off again.
Yes.
I'd be more than happy to. Again, that's what I'm known for. I didn't get a chance to say, I'm pretty sure I saw on Facebook you recently just hit, I think, 14,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Dude, I don't know what the heck is going on, but I was hoping for 100. When I started this, I was hoping for 100, and we are now over 14,000, and I lost my ever-loving mind. And the love that you guys and girls have been giving me is absolutely amazing. And thank you so much for that. It's crazy, Tommy.
Well, congratulations on that. Now the hunt for 15,000 is underway. Mm-hmm. And I know you're going to get that, no problem. And once again, thank you so much for having me. To everyone watching, keep supporting Don Kincaid and the Kincaid Files and stirring the pot. Because this guy is one of a kind. He's like one of the best wrestling fans you'd want in the front row at every show. So again, I had a blast. So good to be on to introduce myself to the wrestling world and to the sports world, respectively. And everyone keep supporting PAPW, support all the other wrestling promotions that I know that Don is over here helping promote. I know Test of Strength is I know a big one of yours. Keep supporting those guys and all the other. I know there's Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Battlefront. Keep supporting all these guys. Everyone. I know that it's like you name a pro wrestling company in New England there, and you're on it. Probably beyond New England. But again, thank you so much again, Don, for having me. Thank you to all the fans for taking the time to let me talk your ear off. So, because I know a lot of times, like, man, people love hearing themselves speak, huh? It's like, because I won't blame you if you're watching and you turn to like your dog or something, like, man, this guy just doesn't shut up, or something like that, But thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time to listening to me and hearing my story. There's a lot more to the story that I can't wait to share with the world. So just keep your eyes peeled, your ears open. I just started my own Instagram official. I think it's official _ Talking Tommy, whatever it is. It's something like that. I even forgot what it is, but I just started that to start that whole thing up. Even I started Twitter. Listen, anyone, hit me up and let me know if you have any questions for me about anything, about any PAPW shows, my opinion on something. I don't do just pro wrestling. I'll talk about baseball, I'll talk about football. You name a sport, I'm more than happy to talk about it. I just love sports. So nice. That's all we'll do. Let's talk sports. There's nothing like it.
Thank you for all the love. And it hit me right here, my man. I appreciate all of that. Keep your eyes open because Talking Tommy is going to be something, and that's why we will have him back. And maybe 6, 7, 8 months, you never know. See where his career is at. See what's going down. We're Talking Tommy. With all of that, this is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Talking Tommy. Thank you once more, my friend.
Thank you.